Hello everyone, my name's Paul from Planty Patch. Welcome to the channel. We're out in the garden. It's all happening in autumn at the moment. Now what I thought I'd talk about today is if I had a very limited space or a very limited size in which to grow things, what would be the main green plant that I would grow, the leafy green that produces the most. Because you can see I'm sitting in between some chard, and I've also got some bok choy on this side as well. And I also grow things like lettuce, kale, and all those sort of things. So which one would I favour if I had a limited space, a limited choice? So I've only had a garden bed, 3 metres by 1 metre or something like that, what would I go for? And the answer to me is pretty clear, and this is purely based on ease of growth and also what you get out of it. And the number one for me, by an absolute mile, is chard. And chard, or some people call it silver beet, has a few other names, but essentially the reason that this stuff is so good and so consistent, even though it's not my most favourite thing to eat, it's still, if you just want greens in the garden, this is the one to go for, because it just produces so much for so long and is so forgiving from a planting point of view. So the big advantage of these things is you can plant them at, let's say, spring, and they can grow all the way through summer, all the way through winter, and off the one plant, and you're just going to be able to just keep harvesting and harvesting and harvesting. So you actually don't need many of these plants. So if you've got a tiny garden and there's two of you at your apartment or something like that, you probably only need 2 plants because they just keep going and going and going. Now if you compare that to things like bok choy, the problem with something like bok choy or spinach is that they're great to eat, no question about it. They produce fantastically well, but the problem is there is a limited period over which you can grow them. So those sort of greens you can only grow in the cooler months. So at the moment we're in autumn going into winter, which is the ideal time to grow these things, or in early spring, because if you try and grow them in summer, they just bolt. And it's the same for spinach as well. Other ones that that a lot of people grow are lettuce. Now lettuce is quite a tricky little beast. And the reason that lettuce is problematic is because it tends to go bitter very, very quickly. So what people often get caught with is they get caught with having heaps of lettuce, but it's all gone bitter. So you've really got to just keep sowing and sowing and sowing. And particularly through the summer months, it happens to me every single year where I have a period of a couple of weeks where I just don't have lettuce because everything's gone bitter really quickly. Now there's a few strategies that you can try for that, which is planting in the shade, so splitting your crops and having some in full sun and some in shade, particularly for lettuce. So I now have beds that are specifically designed to grow lettuce in the summer months where they can be protected. But the downside of lettuce is you need to keep planting it, whereas good old friend chard basically just keeps going and going and going. And so for a bang for buck, if you're going down to the local garden centre and buying just one punnet, this would be the punnet I buy. Alright guys, I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.